The law that protects seals in the UK and in Scotland is the Conservation of Seals Act, dated 1970. And a lot of people are saying that that's outdated. You work as a parliamentary candidate yourself.
Yes.
Do you think that that kind of change is likely to happen? How are people going to
I think it will happen, because I think politicians are like people, that they need their awareness to be raised, and luckily we have SPAG who are doing this now, and I think that once people realise that this slaughter is going on in the British Isles, they're going to do what they can to instigate it.
The Canadian government announced changes in their domestic killing regulations, which presumably was to kind of make it seem a little bit better the way they were killing the seals. Do you think, in a sense, that's just a bit of greenwash so that they can keep on killing?
Yes, it's definitely some kind of PR move, isn't it, really? Because there's no compassionate way to slaughter a seal with a club. And I suppose in Canada it's more of a cultural thing as well. But I think in this country we have to do our best, and when we, as consumers, when we go into the supermarket or wherever we're buying our salmon, to insist and ask the supermarket to confirm that the salmon is going to be seal friendly, because we're very used to going in and asking if tuna is dolphin friendly. I think now we have to expand that and insist that seals are being protected when we're buying our salmon.
And would you, presumably then you'd encourage the consumer to go online, contact their local MP, and try and lobby your local MP.
That's right. Yes, because I think when supermarkets realise that there's money involved, that they will start to take action. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of crashing going on upstairs, which people may hear, and that's we're installing solar panels, and I'm converting my loft to another room, and using recycled timbers, and we just installed a rainwater toilet, so every time we flush the loo, we have a rainwater harvester on the roof, so we're not using water off the mains for that. I don't want to emphasise that people have got to be putting up solar panels and rainwater harvesters, because it makes going green sound complicated and about doing things. I think being green is more about not doing things than doing things, so it's more a question of not turning down thermostats and cutting down your energy use at source, which anyone can do, really. We started this process about 3-4 years ago, so it takes, the planning permission is a lengthy process, but once you get going, and my boyfriend's a builder and he's very handy, so luckily I've got that on the cheap, he's working, slaving away. And he's like me, he's very committed to this sort of thing, so I think if your heart's in it, you'll find a way to do it. But just for an average person who doesn't want to go down that route, I think you can do just as much nearly just by cutting back, not by having to go out and research solar panels and things like that, because it is time consuming, and increasingly as we go along, I think the government will start to offer grants that will help people, but that isn't really happening at the moment. We've also got this wonderful wood burning stove, which is something I really recommend, that really does save people money. And we got that off a stove website, Stoves Are Us, and we could almost have enough heat and warmth just from that if we were using that effectively. And we scour the streets for old bits of wood, so we don't have to have wood delivered or anything. So it is actually zero carbon, because when the tree grows and it naturally dies off, there's a natural die-off of carbon anyway. Yeah. So it is the best, most eco-friendly way of heating, because wood is such an underused resource in this country. There's so much.
I suppose once everything's done, you're going to be saving a lot of money.
Yes, definitely. Yes, that's part of the general aim, because I think that's what talks to people, isn't it? I think if you that's what I don't understand, is why the green issues have been going down off the public agenda since the recession, because actually the simpler that you live, the more money that you're saving, and the more simple your life is, the greener you are. So it's a win-win situation. There's a good quote from Gandhi, I'll just read you this. "The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged in the way in which its animals are treated," which is pretty good. Anything said by Gandhi sort of just about hits it on the head. I think the Green Party is the only party that is addressing animal welfare in a satisfactory way. I don't think we need to have a whole new party for animals, because people just need to vote for the existing party. I always think it's all the people in the country who are very concerned about animals. A lot of those people don't vote because they think that politics is just a complete waste of time and they're completely disenfranchised. But those compassionate people who are worried about animal welfare in this country and the world are the people who should be voting for the Green Party. They should be registering so they can vote every year, because it's vital that the more people that vote for the Green Party is a vote for animal welfare and compassion. A man called Dr. Michael Coleman, who's a senior lecturer in toxicology at Aston University, and he writes, as well as the ethical considerations, scientifically primates are simply not close enough to us to act as good experimental models, and we should be promoting replacement of animal work with human cellular systems. We must leave behind the intellectual laziness of relying on animal models and invest in human cellular-based alternatives for the future. And I think it's just, people just don't like to think of a different way of doing things. It's like my mobile phone's been broken for the last 6 months, but it's taken me ages to get round to having to get a new phone, because I just can't face the thought of having to learn a new way of doing all the texting and everything. It's the same with animal testing, where people are so used to doing things in a certain way that we have to test a product on animals many times, when actually there are alternative methods, because it's always been done like that. So it takes a real shift in your brain to actually do something in another way. So that's why people have to look at animal testing in a different way and really, really see that there are better alternatives now.